Welcome to the Livecast Conversations with. On this show, my guests and I explore the bumps and triumphs of their journey to extract the gems from their experiences, because success leaves clues, and today we turn those clues into billboards for you. I'm your host, Gene Bernier, founder of Peeled Back, speaker and co-active coach, guiding leaders to ruthlessly pursue a life worth living. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 108 of Conversations with. Today, in this episode, we speak with Corrie Omand-Brown, a successful entrepreneur and co-founder of Navy and Sage Benefits, a benefits consulting firm with an all-female team. Corrie specializes in group benefits plans, disability management, health and wellness, and HR. Her clients consider her a trusted and valued partner due to her innovative and creative solutions. She believes in understanding her clients' needs and designing a well-managed and cost-effective benefits plan. Listen to learn more about Corrie's entrepreneurial journey today. Corrie, my words cannot do you justice. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks, Gene. That's some nice stuff that you shared. I really appreciate that.
Well, it's all true.
I'm excited to be here.
Good. Well, let's jump into it. Let's talk about your journey of being an entrepreneur and building this company and what that's meant to you. And if we can, jump into some of those maybe early days of making that jump and finding that space to take all these steps, because there's a lot of people out there that have great ideas and provide incredible value that sometimes maybe just need to go, oh yeah, other awesome people have done this too.
Well, oh my gosh, being an entrepreneur has so many amazing rewards. Um, Freedom and flexibility and control of income and all sorts of wonderful things. But to get there was quite a journey, um, and to quite a lot of planning and faith in myself. And I couldn't have done that alone. So the things that led to my success in that area were really the people that surrounded me. So I obviously had my family, needed my family support to be able to take that leap of faith from a job, a job, to starting my own business. I obviously, for those who don't know, I have a business partner. Her name is Terry Erickson. She's fantastic. And she and I started this business, Navy and Sage Benefits, together. So it was wonderful to have a partner to run ideas with and do planning and talk all of that over with. I also had this amazing group of people called a mastermind group, accountability group, essentially. And Gene Bernier, you were one of those people back in the early days when I started tossing around the idea of building my own business. That was a long journey. It was a lot of talk before something actually happened. But it was people like this that helped give me the courage to do that. In addition, I'm really, really grateful for two other groups of people. Number one, my employees who have helped me along the way. It's really, I believe it's really our employees that help us look good. You know, they do all the hard work behind the scenes, and we might be able to be the ones that present to clients and talk to clients about group benefits, but it's really our team that's making us look good and be a great company. So I'm so grateful for them.
It's kind of the finding the benefits in the group.
Yeah. And also, um, through this journey, there's obviously been ups and downs. Being an entrepreneur isn't always easy.
No.
And I'm super grateful for coaches. And I've worked with many over the years, but it's been wonderful to have someone along the last 5 or more years to help stretch me outside my comfort zone, help squash fears, help overcome obstacles in my brain to help me achieve at the next level. So I'm super grateful for that. And Jean, you've been on that journey with me too. I thank you so much for coaching.
You're very welcome. It's been an honor to be on that journey with you. So there's a few things to unpack there, but maybe there's a bit of that theme of like that initial fear and courage to jump. You said You had your family support, you had your mastermind, you had your co-founder, and you had other people bringing there. What was it like in those early days, if you can go back to that space and be like,
Ugh.
like that push to go, oh, get off the precipice and like take that first step, because that can be the most scariest thing to do for anybody in anything. So
Absolutely. And there's some safety and security in having a job, right?
yeah.
But in those moments, as I was contemplating change, it really came down to I felt like my values weren't aligning with the company that I was working for. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so I needed change. I wanted to make that leap of faith. Gosh, and it was scary. Like imagine going from great, successful, secure job, paid income, um, terrifying. Um,
Oh
and I don't know, Gene. My video cut out for a sec, but I'm just gonna keep going because I assume that's
yeah,
okay.
keep going. Yeah.
Um, but I was terrified, and it took a lot of courage. It took countless conversations to um, get ready for that journey. And I tell you, all of the prep that happened behind the scenes in leading up to that day when I decided, okay, I think I'm ready. I think I'm strong enough. I'm brave enough to take that leap of faith. It was all of that mental preparation that allowed us to be ready and have a great first year right out of the gate. So I was super, super excited to um, have the support. Um, and even though I was scared, despite I was scared, it was easy to make that transition with the support
Right. So I hear in within
and
all
planning.
that, there's like that fear came along the journey of like, like you're leaving somewhere relatively certain. You understood where your job was and how to be successful in that and what that meant to you. The disalignment of your values to how you were feeling and experiencing being in there sounds like that was like the catalyst to go, "Oh, I'm good at this, but like this other part of me isn't fulfilled here." And then
Mm-hmm.
instead of
Mm-hmm.
making rash
That's right. Well,
decisions,
and there was driving force that said, hey, I really want to have control of my time and have control of my income a little bit
yeah,
more. And I shifted into a role at home where I wanted to be there when my kids got home from school too. So it was really great to have the opportunity to do that. So there's a few driving factors. The work wasn't um, matching my values. I had some frustration in that area. I had driving factors of home and wanting to be with my family more, or at least be there as my kids were getting a little bit older.
yeah.
And then just control of my own freedom and flexibility.
Oh, so many things to unpack. There's like being able to be home for your kids as they grow up. Like that's a short period of time to be to have them in that window, to be there to just be present when they show come home from school. It's magical. I'm gifted with that as well, and I understand what that means. But I kind of want to like explore this idea of like this like freedom of like time and earning, and what that journey in itself has unraveled for you over the time, and what now as a successful entrepreneur who's what, you're like 5 going on 6 years into your business,
Mm-hmm.
going, what does that reflection now mean when you think on what have I learned about time and this concept of, oh, I get more freedom with it. How has that shifted over this time, these last 6 years for you?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's been an interesting journey. Like right out of the gate, you open your doors, there is zero income to start, right? So that part was terrifying. So, I mean, financially, I had to make sure that our family was set up to get through a period of time where we might not have income right away. And lucky enough for us, my business partner and I were eager, highly motivated, and just hit the ground running and had just phenomenal success right out of the gate. I believe that's the result of hard work, honestly. I mean, there some people can say, "Oh, I'm so lucky," um, in terms of luck, right?
Yeah.
Not gratitude, but luck. But I believe that luck and fortune is often a result of hard work and good
Mm.
planning. And so that's what we did. And we
I
just,
want to, before you move on from there, I want to add one more piece because knowing you,
yeah.
and yes, Corrie is a hard worker. Yes, she sets visions. But what you're kind of missing there is the power of your ability to build relationships and how that like
Mm.
intertwines to everything as well. Because anybody can go out and dial for, do dial-ls, reach out to people, but there's also a component of like what you have brought to your table as built being able to build those relationships and how that has been like an ingredient that goes into all that hard work as well.
That's true. And so while I have some measurement tools that help to keep me on track, I work with a coach, but I have a spreadsheet where I track my activities on a daily basis still to this day to make sure that I'm doing what will lead me to success. So
Yeah.
I measure and I track, how many conversations I'm having and how many. It helps me even to stretch and reach if I notice, oh, I haven't been doing some activities in terms of the growth of my business. It will motivate me to reach out and book a coffee with someone or go to a networking group or what have you. So I know that relationship is one of my strengths, and I try to play to that. But it also comes down to making sure that I'm ready and I'm organized to set myself up for success.
Yeah.
So we can we can go down that bunny trail for a while. In terms of setting myself up for success, I've had bumps in the road, and we might get into that a little bit later here. Um, I'm sure we will because you're a wonderful coach, Jean. Um, but when it comes to setting myself up for success, yes, there's planning and organizing, but there is also making sure that I'm mentally and physically the
Mm,
best self
yes.
I can be. So setting myself up for success means making sure I'm in a good headspace and working with a coach on a monthly or every 2 week or every or weekly basis is one of the things that's really helped me make sure that I'm grounded and focused. Um, in addition, there's things in my life that I really love that give me juice, that get me excited and just fill me up so I'm able to give to others.
Ooh,
Um, some of
I
those
think
things are
that's
being in nature.
yeah. I think that's an important piece there is like filling up your own cup so that you can then go take care of the rest of it, right? It's like,
Mhm.
like I think we've talked about this in the past and but you're serving from your saucer, not from an empty cup, because then your cup overfloweth and then the rest of that gets to go spill everywhere else.
Yeah.
To like circle back on this whole like mindset and building like your environment, like what I hear from you here, Corey, is that you intentionally go off and kind of like cultivate your environment, be it up here in your heart and even out going out in nature. You mentioned before I cut you off there is like, what does that now look like? And if you could look back on Corey 6 years ago, what would you tell her about cultivating like your intentions and getting the mindset and the heart space and the environment in that right space to be able to go do that excellent work? Because there's one thing about doing the work that you talked about, knowing here's the steps I need to take, but how is it different now when you show up in that place that you're just juiced versus
Hmm. Um, Jean, if I could, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could all just go back 5, 10 years and tell our younger selves what we need to hear to
yeah.
give us more confidence and um, just more belief and more courage. Like, wouldn't it be great if we could do that? And I believe to a degree that we can because um, the experiences that we've had when we're younger still stick with us and help
Hmm.
shape our beliefs, or actions or reactions. So I actually have worked with having conversations with my younger self, to make sure that I'm my most grounded and um, courageous self. I'm willing to be vulnerable. If I could go back there, um, I would tell her not to worry as much. I would tell her um, that she is smarter than she thinks she is, that she's enough, that she is destined to have a really full, fun life in
Yes.
whatever she chooses, you know? Um, I don't know if she would have believed me back then if I said, "You're gonna work in insurance, and it's gonna be awesome." But this journey has been really wonderful, and like I want this to be a theme of our interview is that the people in my life and the relationships that I have with my team, with my clients, that's really what drives me. Like I'm on this earth to help others. And this business has just really given me an opportunity to make a difference for people, whether it's, hey, I've got a dental claim that's been denied and I need some help to figure out what to do, or, working on a really tough out of country claim where we have to help someone when they're not in the country with a huge medical emergency. Or, these are tough ones, but handing a life insurance check to a beneficiary, um, that's not always the easiest part of my job, but the rewarding part is that we're there to help people. Um, and handing over that check to someone makes it a little bit easier, makes their life a little bit easier after losing someone. So those relationships and being able to help people in my line of work have been huge. And I think that if I told little Corrie that you get to do that even when you're older, that fits with our values.
Right.
Yeah.
How do your how does your values show up for you on a daily basis? Let me rephrase that. What are some of the practices that you take in your day or in your week to bring those forward for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one. Um, well, on a professional level, with Navy and Sage benefits, it's something that I get to experience and work on every day. We really, really drive our business with customer service first and foremost. Really, I often am asking myself and asking my staff, what else can we do? Like, how can we make this easier for our clients? How can we get the answer they're looking for? And so our team are really great at being out of the box thinkers. We like to um, come up with creative solutions to get to the answer or get to the result that our clients are
Right.
looking for.
So it kind of sounds like by imbuing you yourself as one of the values of serving customers, making that part of your team's culture, they're able to think about ways that are going, here's the solution that we want to get to. How can we keep finding the right steps to get there? Not getting stuck on what is the how, but what I hear from you is like you're by putting yourself in service of others, you can say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
here's the end solution. Well, how can we get to that? And how can we clear the roadblocks so that they can have this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And whether that's in my personal life or in my work life, like I've really enjoyed being a member of JCI, Junior Chamber International. And one of the lines in the creed or the values that they stand
Yeah.
for, the one that's meant the most to me, that stays with me years later, beyond joining the organization like 17 years ago, was or is service to humanity is the best work of life.
Yeah.
And that really rings true for me. That's why JCI was such a good fit for me, to find a network of like-minded people. And it's also what drives me through my life and my business. is I really think that we're here on this earth to interact, to have relationship, and to help each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's what we hear here is an entrepreneur that's built a business around relationships and not transactions. So anybody that's listening, go back and take all the notes about what that means to be in service of those people and how you can take the leap going, "Ah, I've got zero on day
Mm-hmm.
one," to
Mm-hmm.
being now continuing to build your team, to continuing to building your practice, and to finding and growing yourself, to being the
Mm-hmm.
confident and extremely competent leader that you are today.
Thanks, Jean. I appreciate that. I have a little nugget that I want to share with
Yes, please, let's do
watchers,
it.
listeners. Is that okay? So,
Yes.
um, one of my favorite authors is Patrick Lencioni. And there's a number of books that I really love that he's written, and one of
Yeah.
them is called The Ideal Team Player. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
The Ideal Team Player um, by Patrick Lencioni. So this really talks about when you're hiring to focus on people that fit your values. There's lots of skills that can be taught, but when hiring and when looking to grow your team, look for people that are fitting your values and are humble and people like they're really smart when it comes to interacting with people. They're intuitive and kind, um, and just a really good fit for your organization. Because if you're trying to just hire based on skill, they might not be a fit and might
Right.
be a sabotage for your organization. So that's a really cool book that I like. And his book that I like the very most, this is my favorite Lencioni book, is The Five Dysfunctions of a Team.
It's a great book.
And
If you haven't read
yeah,
it,
it is,
definitely
right?
go get it.
Yeah. So that one really talks about how to make a very effective, cohesive, well-working team. And at the base of the pyramid to start, when he's talking about the five dysfunctions, is lack of trust. And
Mm.
so, really, we're all coming back down to relationship and connection. So we have to share and be vulnerable and get to know one another to develop trust.
What is learning through that? How has your commitment or like taking that first, what does it, let me flip this around, sorry, is like if there's vulnerability and there's trust and there's connection that needs to happen, somebody has to go first. What has
Ooh.
it meant now for you to be in that role to go, oh, I guess I got to go first?
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's a deep one, Jean. Um, there have been ways that I have really stretched myself outside my comfort zone. Like, and I don't know if anyone out there is has experienced conversations that they've been avoiding or any other uncomfortable, right? Right? Um, but despite the discomfort, and sometimes this has taken days, weeks, months to build up courage to do those things that are uncomfortable, whether it's prospecting or starting a business or
Mm.
having an uncomfortable conversation with someone in your life. Um, I'm proud to say that I've come through all of those situations, but not alone. It's taken a lot of tough conversations, vulnerability, emotion, working with a coach to help pull that out. Oh, and I like to describe it this way. It's like walking around with a giant boulder on a chain that you're dragging around. And and I like to think I'm not alone. Like we all have our own baggage, right?
Yep.
Um, but it was the courage to have those conversations or to grow outside my comfort zone, that was what let me let go of that rock, the heavy
Mm.
baggage that I was dragging around. We all have experiences and trauma, but
Yep.
um, it's been quite a journey, and it really was that vulnerability and willingness to be open and dig into that mucky stuff so that I can get to the other
Yes.
side and have great success, whether that's in relationship or in business. Yeah.
From that perspective of being able to let the rock go now, has that redefined or augmented your definition of what success means for you and what it means to step into a place of success?
Hmm. I think I believe that our definition of success evolves.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but I think
That's all we're asking for today.
as we get older, um, or as different circumstances in our life change, so does our vision of success. And there used to be, a younger version of myself that said, oh, I'm gonna build my own company and it's gonna be huge and amazing. But really, what I find myself wanting more now is peace and
Mm.
being grounded and um, slowing down a little bit. I think we live in this society where the expectation is just to go fast. Like if you don't respond to an email right away, somebody's like, where are you? What's
What's
wrong?
going
What's
on?
going
What?
on? Why haven't you
Yeah.
responded to me? Um, we're such an instant gratification kind of society that I I dream of the day when we're all just dialing it back a little. I had this experience in France. So I traveled there and I learned that it is really, really frowned upon to receive or send an email outside of normal work hours
Mm.
in France. And in many European countries, they have a lot more holiday days than they do where we experience it in Canada or the US.
Yeah.
And I just really admire them starting to adopt it or still continue to have a slower pace of life because I think that that's more sustainable over long term. Yeah. Yeah. So much in our organization, we see statistics on increase of short-term disability or long-term disability claims related to mental health. We're seeing all of these statistics of people that are in burnout and just so overworked or overstressed. And part of that may be perception, but it really how we're feeling is our own reality. And
Yeah.
and I've really seen this pattern, this trend of individuals that are struggling to keep up
Yes.
physically and mentally, with workload, with expectation, with all of these things. Um, this is quite the bunny trail we've gone down here. Um,
But I think it's an important one. As somebody that is like sitting in the space that you are around group benefits, you are seeing the numbers, you're seeing the
mhm,
different claims and how those has probably shifted over your tenure in the industry and what that is looking like as the external pressures are being piled on and the expectations are growing higher. Be like they're all just people at the end of the day, and people can only do so much. And I read somewhere recently that you're not earning a rest. You can take a rest. You get to take a rest. Rest is required. Rest is required in everything on this planet. Our
mhm,
seasons have rest. Plant life have rest. We
mhm,
all require that to recuperate and to bring our fullness back out. And
mhm.
it's too bad that there's this unjustified version of, we'll call it hustle culture, that you just got to go 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 and you can rest when you're dead. Be like, I don't want that anytime soon. I'll take that rest in the long term. So I'm going to set myself up for that. So what is that now? How's that shifted? Got here through your definition of how success is augmented and changed for you. It's like, what role does like knowing that and kind of going, oh, I guess I should take my own medicine first and flip that around, be like,
Oh,
instead of
thanks,
medicine, be
Jane.
like,
Isn't that true? I have not gotten too far into this. I've just started reading this book, The Power of Remote by Shane Sprague's. Um, But there's a quote in here, like at the very beginning of his book, that says, nobody on their deathbed has ever said, I wish I had spent more time at the office.
yeah,
to my clients that might be listening, I still care about you and you're going to get great service. But it's really, for me, about building a team to make sure that we're delivering on what we promise to our clients,
Yeah.
but so that all of us on our team have the right capacity, volume of work,
Yeah.
right? Um, and in terms of taking my own medicine, that's not always easy. That's not always easy, especially when um, I always want to do a really good job for my clients. Sometimes things take longer than we expect, and so the delivery on some of the outcomes is longer than we expect as well. So
Yeah.
um, I haven't always been the best at taking my own medicine, but I've in the last couple of years I've really had to dial back um, and focus on how can I be my best self? How can I be
Mm.
my best self in my relationship with my spouse and my kids, my family? How can I be my best self at work? And it's really outside of those working hours, taking time to to make sure that I'm in a good physical space. So making sure I'm getting enough exercise and I'm eating what's healthy for my body.
Yeah.
Um, that I'm making sure that as an introvert, that I have the right downtime that I need to recharge and recruit. Um, that that I'm making sure that I'm talking to myself in a positive way, because
Oof.
all of the time when we're hearing criticism or we're hearing negative people, even if it's not even directed towards us, if we're
Right.
around all of that type of conversation, it affects how we think and how we
Mm.
think about ourselves. And so I've had to make a real conscious effort to make time for meditation, make time to ensure that my own internal dialogue is positive
Mm.
so I
Yeah.
can be my best self in all areas of my life.
Right. And I think that's so important and a message to be sharing with, you know, young leaders and people that are in that entrepreneurial space. I think that doesn't matter, just people, period, is like there is a component of taking that time and finding out what is right for you. Right, your body's going to tell you. It's going to show up in how
Mhm.
you're feeling and how much energy you have, and all these other things. They're very easy markers if you're going to bring some awareness to it. And what it sounds like, Corey, is there's been a bit of a journey there for you to build that awareness into what does that mean for you, and continuing to bring that out, and it's a reminder that this is a practice. This isn't like there's no end goal to like taking care of yourself and to building
Mhm.
yourself up and filling it. Like
Mhm.
you've shared, 4 or 5 steps that you take on a regular basis. Like that's not an end goal. That this is a practice, and sometimes the
Mhm.
practice is better than others, but like you still are practicing it.
Absolutely. Like a yoga practice, right?
Yeah.
Like going to the gym. I tell you, there's days, even like this video, Gene. No offense, but this whole video thing is terrifying to me.
Yeah.
Um, and I've spoken in front of hundreds of people, and I can do that fine. But when it comes to being on video and having something be put out there on the internet in like Foreverland, I'm terrified. The
Yet here
same
you
as
are.
right? Um, so there's sometimes things that we don't want to do, even like going to the gym, right? Even last night it was like, oh, I'm so resistant. I don't want to go. But I did
Yeah.
anyways, and I did okay, and I felt great afterwards. It's the same way with our mental health and our being positive and mentally prepared for handling what comes in our life,
Yeah.
right? Man, okay, I might get emotional here, but I've had some challenges where um like the last couple of years were really tough. My dad passed away from COVID, and all that ensued in terms of processing that and dealing with the emotion and getting over grief. And for me, this particular grief journey um was an extra messy and complicated one that took way longer than I than I had time for, or that I expected, right? Like
Yeah.
I really, really had to be gentle and kind to myself, um, and let myself go through that process. Um, to get to a space where I'm my best self, right? And that was sometimes two steps forward, one step back, or even one step forward and two steps back journey. Um, but it's consciously making the effort to work on ourselves to get to that mentally healthy space.
Right. And finding that space. And what I what I want to champion here from Corrie is that she added that she had to be kind to herself. And in order to be kind to yourself, you'd kind of take away the pressure of like a timeline of getting through it, but facing it and knowing that today I'm going to face it. I don't know how that's going to go, but I'm going to choose to face this. Whatever this is, without a timeline, without going, hurry up. You've had enough time for this grief, for this feeling, for this sadness, for this happiness, for this anger, whatever that is like, take the timeline away and just face it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it'll chase you the other
Mm-hmm.
way around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's been an interesting journey for sure.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that with us.
It's my goal for today was to enter this this space being honest and real and raw and vulnerable and share how some of my own challenges um, maybe are relatable. You know, maybe I'm not alone in having these challenges, as especially as we're working on our own business, if we're entrepreneurs and we're trying to grow our business and work on our business. Um, all of these things come into play and might affect what we want to be a straight line for growth and success. But it doesn't look like that. It looks like a
No.
tangled ball of yarn.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. There's like a yes and to that. They're like, yeah, it's never going to be a straight line, but as long as you can keep your eye on like where you're going to go,
Hmm.
because that's part of like when you're pulling out the twine, looking up, going, oh, I'm not quite there. Then you dip it around. Oh, okay, I'm not quite there. Oh, I dip it around again. Right? It's a wandering and meandering path
Yeah.
with roadblocks and successes and stories that you really can never truly prepare for. Go, oh,
Hmm.
I'm prepared to take the steps. Am I? And that's what I keep hearing from you throughout this entire conversation, Corrie, is like prepare, like aim, prepare, take the steps. Aim, prepare, take the steps. Like this is like a theme that I'm just seeing and hearing today from you.
Hmm. And if you fall down, get back up.
Yeah, that's
That's,
part
you
of
know,
sometimes
like
taking a step.
you,
Sometimes you trip.
sometimes we sit on the floor for a little bit longer than other times, but always get back up.
Yeah.
See what I've learned from a situation and apply that to the next challenge.
Right. And there's like that
Yeah.
that there's the learning and I hear the kindness in that as well. It's like if you can take anything, if you need a reminder, you can come watch
Mm-hmm.
Corrie to be like, be kind to yourself.
Hmm. Well, and I also want to point out, like, it's been really important for me to use the language, like, be kind to others too.
Yeah.
Recognize that whoever you're dealing with, whether it's the person on the other end of the email that you've been waiting for an answer on for ages and they're not getting back to you, or um, you know, one of your employees or a coworker, whatever, whenever you're not getting the response that you want or expect, that everybody has their journey. Like,
Mm.
imagine if we could just all be a little bit more kind and compassionate and understanding with what might be going on for that other person. And a lot of the times we'll never know, but know that everybody has their own trauma, their own experiences, their own past, their own way, filter of viewing the world, right?
Yeah.
Um, I try to always approach with kindness and understanding and compassion.
Sometimes that's easier to point that out than it is to point that in.
Yeah, true. That's true.
Yeah. And sometimes being able to point that outwards gives you the reps to put in to practice deploying it so then you can start doing it into yourself too.
Hmm.
And
Wise words, as always, Gene.
it just like for me it pulls right back to the whole like it's a practice. It's a
Mm-hmm.
practice. And it's
Mm-hmm.
you're going to get in your life what you practice. Corey, you continuing to practice success, kindness, compassion, and relationship building, which speaks to your growing team, speaks to your growing company, and the value that you're bringing to everybody, and the things that you've brought in today on this show. I just want to acknowledge you for taking the step to come on. As you said, you were a little hesitant about doing that on this format, and you've played full out.
Gene is playing this down. Like there was like real resistance. I'm finally on the show in episode 108, but Gene's been asking for a long time. So yeah, thanks for your persistence. Um, and this is a big step for me just to like
Yeah,
be on video for something that's going to be out there for the world to see forever.
yeah. This is forever. Well, with
Awesome.
that,
Well, it's been fun.
as I said at the earlier part, I was going to lose track of time because it was going to be such an incredible conversation. And here we are, losing track of time as always. So thank you again for another wonderful conversation with so much value being brought. So before we get on to the last question of the show, here's an opportunity to let's spotlight Corrie and Navy and Sage benefits a little bit. Tell us a little bit about how people can connect with you, where they can find out information, and maybe let's give a shout out to like who should be working with Corrie.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Dean, for this opportunity. So obviously Navy and Sage Benefits is a group benefits advisory firm. We specialize in group benefits, but we also provide HR services, health and wellness, and disability management and retirement, like group RSP retirement planning for our clients. So all of that wrapped into a nice little bundle. Being our group benefit client means that you get some HR services. So we're really a great fit for small to medium-sized businesses. I deal anywhere like 5, 10 employees. We work with businesses all the way up to 800 and 1,000 employees. But our sweet spot is like that, 20 to 50, 20 to 100 employees,
Yeah.
where we can get into creating wellness challenges and digging into what's the trend in claims and how can we help you to better take care of your employees, but also manage your budget at the same time. So, and we work with clients of all different industries. So thanks for the little opportunity to do a pitch there.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Super excited to be on the show.
And
Thanks a
down
lot,
below
Gene.
in the show notes is the Navy and Sage links for their social, for their website. So navyandsagebenefits.ca. If you want to go check them out, I recommend them highly.
Thanks, Gene. Lots of like great articles and blog posts on our website as well. So whatever topic you might be searching, there might be some great HR support for you.
Perfect. Definitely. They post on LinkedIn quite regularly. All right, Corrie. Now the last question. So this is the newer question that I've been asking people. So what is your definition of trusting yourself?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you talked about how um, about success and what success means. And for me, success, that definition has evolved, and it really means trust in myself on a personal level. That's what success is to me on a personal level, is trust in myself. And to get to that trusting myself, it's taken a lot of courage. It's taken, for me, it means being grounded and being at peace and being confident and courageous. And so that's what it means for me to trust myself. But to get there has taken a lot of vulnerability.
Love that. Vulnerability, courageousness. There, that's the magic sauce. So thank you so much for sharing that definition with us, Corrie. And to everybody else, thank you so much for watching episode 108 of Conversations With. I'm your host, Gene, and we'll be back next week. Until then, thank you so much, Corrie, for being on the show, and to everybody else for tuning in.
Thanks, Gene.